isolation to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And we can see the beginning.
All right, good morning. Mr. Brennan,
Present.
Mr. Rickerman,
Here.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Present.
Mr. Vines, Mr. Davis,
Here.
Mayor Benjamin.
Here. Thank you, ma'am. Rev McDowell, would you bless us with the word, please, brother?
Oh, Lord, for all that you've done for us today, for the blessings you've already bestowed upon us. We ask that you be with us individually and yet collectively. Allow us to sense your presence. Allow us to be informed in a spiritual way, that decisions are made in a way that your presence and your nearness might be among us. We ask it in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have an amendment to the agenda?
Yes, sir. We have an amendment for an executive session.
All right. The topic.
Receipt of legal advice related to matters covered by attorney-client privilege pursuant to 30-4-70A2 COVID-19.
All right. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So moved.
So moved.
All right. Moved and seconded. In discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. And we're going to take up the executive session first in the event that there may be more than one action item required by council. So we will have a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we go into the executive session for receipt of legal advice related to matters covered by attorney-client privilege pursuant to SC Code 30-4-70A2 COVID-19.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? We'll move to the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. And for those who might be a little confused, we had the amended agenda first, and then we had to actually vote to go into executive session. So we'll be judicious in how we handle the people's time.
And stop the spread of this.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, Madam City Manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. At this time, we have already adopted the agenda for today and coming, I don't know that you all need to make a motion to come out, Mr. Mayor, but of executive session, we're going to take up ordinance, the second reading, ordinance 2020-077, amending the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 5, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 8, Rental Housing Regulations, Section 5, 330, Violations and Assignment of Violations, D1D. And first reading approval was given to this ordinance on August the 18th, 2020.
I move approval of ordinance 2020-077.
Is there a second?
Second.
Period of discussion. I'm trying to make sure I see if there's any. Seeing none, we all recognize that the significant efforts being made by all, by obviously this council, by our business community, by a lot of students and faculty members, others, administrators of the university. Everyone's doing their part. We need everyone else to step up our game and make sure we can slow down the spread of this still rapidly evolving public health threat. This is a step in the right direction. We'll move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Rickerman and then Mr. Brennan.
Yes, Madam City Manager, I'd respectfully request that you reach out to the university and ask them to provide us a list of events and gathering opportunities and what they have planned for the students that they brought back to campus with the increased request for us to help subdue the spread of corona and limit and interactions that have been had so far by the university. I think it'd be appropriate for them to make us aware of what their plans are, what they have in the future to help accommodate the faculty and kids on campus.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to just reiterate it. We're all in this together, and educating people, residents, young adults that are coming back to this city about all the efforts that we've been making to curb COVID. And I want to go ahead and thank the property managers and landlords for helping us educate residents and tenants. And I wanted to let them know that we will be providing an informative one-pager that they can share with their tenants. It brings them up to speed about local efforts, state efforts that we are serious about, and that we need their help in curbing the COVID-19 here locally. And I believe that'll be available at our Resilient Columbia website. And then our wonderful code enforcement and zoning team will be emailing that out to our list of landlord permit holders, specifically the property managers too. Please, Mr. Hatcher, if you could be sure that property management companies get that, because they do the interfacing a lot of the times with these tenants and residents that we'd like to reach out to.
Yes, sir. We'll make sure that occurs. I see David shaking his head, but yes, sir, we'll do that.
Yeah, and I think in addition to the comments from both of our colleagues, I know we've been working closely with the university and Benedict and some of the other colleges. It would be helpful to kind of get a comprehensive understanding of what the response plans are. You know, obviously it doesn't take it just takes common sense to obviously understand that what's happening everywhere will also happen here with the proliferation of cases when students come back to our respective cities. What's more important is what is our plan and the response. So getting maybe a clear report from our colleges and universities as what the action plan is to suppress the growth of the virus. We've seen obviously the challenges with the 2 sorority houses as a vivid representation of what can happen. So be curious to see a report, either an actual report or a physical report from our college colleagues. All right. So, thank you all for your continued leadership. We have a very busy weekend ahead as number of protests in response to the shooting in Kenosha spread across the country, and commensurate other exercises of free speech rights. We in Columbia continue to respect the primacy of the Constitution and folks exercising their right to speak freely, certainly within constitutional limits, even if we agree or disagree with what they have to say. It's important that we again underscore the fact that those rights are limited, and whenever actions step outside of those constitutional boundaries and endanger the public health or life safety of our citizens, property rights of our businesses, and we're relying heavily, as we always do, on the leadership of our chief in the Columbia Police Department, our colleagues in the sheriff at the Richland County Sheriff's Department, and other law enforcement officials, as well as just individual citizens, to all step up and do what we should do to make sure we protect free speech, but at the very same time we protect the dignity of of those rights emblazoned in the Constitution by acting accordingly. Let's all do our very best. Let's all be our very best, and let's make it through these challenging times together. God bless y'all again to all of our colleagues, including Ms. Devine. She had a professional obligation she could not miss this morning as we call this emergency meeting. I just want to say thank y'all for your continued leadership. God bless y'all. Keep you. Stay healthy. We need you. Ref.
Mr. Mayor, David, let me ask you, as it relates to the one pager that will be placed on the website, how do we plan to manage pieces of property that persons are non-residents, they're out of town? How do you plan to do that? How do you plan to share that information with persons who are
owners?
Who are not in Columbia?
They have to have a registration, a person within 45 miles of the city. They have to have a local contact here.
All right. How do you,
We have that in our database.
all right. So you will share that with those persons, David?
Yes, sir. I can send out a letter to all the property managers we have on file and let them know of the new ordinance.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. No, thank you.
Move, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved.
Discussion with the previous question, Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
He's gone.
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.